Exodus 14:11-14. They said to Moses, because there are no graves in Egypt, that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness. What have you done to us in bringing us out of Egypt? Is this not what we said to you in Egypt? Let us to be alone, that we may serve the Egyptians. For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than die in the wilderness. And Moses said to the people, fear not, stand firm and see the salvation of the Lord, for he will work for you every day. For the Egyptians whom you see today you shall never see again, for the Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent. Amen. So we're giving worship online.
보니까 유튜브로 한 300명, 줌으로 몇 명 정도 됐죠 지금? 490명. 그러니까 거의 뭐 지금 한
There is close to 800 people giving worship online. And it's that when we are able to worship on Zoom, because we have the physical body, we're able to focus more. And I'm able to see you without the masks. And if there are any of you who are on YouTube, please give it to the people so that you would come on Zoom. It doesn't matter if you don't come to our church. Please participate on Zoom. May we have the confession of faith. May we be the one who is acknowledged upon the end times. May we be acknowledged by God. The confession of faith that has strength. May we say it again? Eventually, it is only thanksgiving. We're thankful that we're able to give this online worship. And if we don't have the system, we will not be able to give worship, but we're here upon this worship. But for the online worship, if you check your Kakao Talk 2 times, then you lose hold of the stream. So don't turn off your Zoom, but turn off your alarms, because this is a battle. I'm gonna give worship as I want, but if that is so, then you'll not be able to find the power. Let's say that you have a difficult heart. Those people should be able to give worship more, but they don't. And they say, oh, worship is difficult. Online worship is so difficult. But from now until the time that worship ends, you need to have this spiritual battle. Don't worry about anything else. It's the time to receive the worship. When we give you the keyword for August, may you have the heart of prayer, saying you're going to receive this word with Shneko. The title for today is Truth Upon Spiritual Truth. In the conclusion of last week's pulpit message, our senior pastor said to be awake to the extent that you will not have any moment to change or have regrets. There are many reasons to be awake, but upon those moments that you will not be able to change back, and we have those moments. We want to turn it back, but those moments that we can't, and you must have to be awake so that you don't do this. As we live our lives, there are many moments that we cannot turn back, even if it is not serious, even the things that you can laugh upon right now. It may be a big issue, but even mistakes with your words, it would be good if you can erase your words like Kakao Talk function, where you can erase what you wrote within 5 minutes. You can't pick it up once it's spit out. We can not turn it back. When my parents were in the States, they have used a Korean bank because the English is difficult. I still remember there was a very kind bank worker. They're named I still remember Regina Kim. She was so friendly. She always greeted friendly to my parents. And although she was not very old, she was very comfortable to the adults. And living an immigration life, we're going through a very lonely, difficult life. And even my father, who is very blunt, would greet her and ask her how she has been. And going to a bank, it's very difficult, and it's not always for the good things. It's very sensitive and solemn. And as this bank worker was so kind to her, they were able to have a casual conversation. So one day my father was talking to Regina, and then she had her stomach a bit out. And then my father asked, "Oh, Regina, are you pregnant?" And the answer that she got was, "No." So this had ended as a sad story where my dad, who is always precise with his words, had said anything to bypass such incident. It's saying, "Oh, you gained some weight, and it can't be turned back." I was so embarrassed that my father may not remember, but I remember this. So with such things, he can change the bank, so it's fine. And we can laugh it by. But not this. But when things are so obvious, but I make a mistake, going into an accident because I was not awake. If it was a big accident, it would be so exasperating and fluttering. Thus, there are many unexpected accidents during the summer in the waters. It's because it's so obvious, but it is like people who are just looking at the people drowning. So the simple, light things become a big accident. As we have gone back to our old states after the NHS training, we go back to our blunt lives. Yet, it is as if God knew of such a nature and have given us this word. Wanting to go back to our blunt lives. So he gave us the word of being awake. Were you awake this week? Oh, Pastor, there were so many problems. I was only able to pray. That is good. That's something to be thankful of. If you are able to be awake. But on the other hand, if you have lived a life with no change within compliance, hold on to the word again right now. There are many times for us when we listen to the word, we listen to my self-centeredness. Oh, I have to be awake. I have to have the assurance of the gospel. I have to enjoy the gospel. Yes, it is important and it is rightful, but we must be able to enjoy the identity of a child of God. However, to be frank, if you're not spiritually awake, but is falling asleep, you will be unknowingly fall asleep. And then, yes, you receive salvation, but as you doze off, when you wake up, you'll be in heaven. And this is so frustrating and sad, but it is true. However, the field is not like that. Even if you don't want to hear it, it's true. Those people who push the dislike button on YouTube for my sermons, it's that you don't want to hear it, but it's true. If we are not awake and do not tell them of this, people will be within suffering and eventually go to hell. That is why, although the gospel makes us happy, at times it breaks our heart looking into the field. So, as I'm talking to such people, I want to ask, where are you going? So, Where are you going right now? Do you know where you're going?
어딘지 알고 가는
I
거야?
want to
아무것도 안
ask
알고
because they just go.
막 가거든요, 그냥.
I want to hold them and ask, where are you going right now?
어디
Do
가지?
you know where you're going?
어디 가는지 알고 가냐?
And one day, there are just so many times when my heart breaks. Oh, that's how they're going to live and go to hell. So many people respect firemen, and they have so much stress due to the traumas. It's because it's so apparent, and where they see the people saying to save them, but they can't go in because of the fire. However, we have no worries of that because our Master is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the water of life, the water of the stream, the water that comes from the rock. So if we are drenched within that grace, even the arrows of Satan will lose its power. We have that identity. Even if we run into the field that is burning down, we have no problem. However, there are so many times that we lose hold of this by saying, it is a problem, a problem. That's why we are given the word of spiritual independence for last week's young adult message. Psalm 139, 7-10 reads, where shall I go from your spirit, or where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, there you are. If I may make my bed in Sheol, there you are. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and the right hand shall hold me. The life that knows this and enjoys it is the life that is awake. It is that God is always with me. Even when you are alone, even when you want to avoid Him, knowing this is being awake. He had loved me to death, to save a sinner like me and to make me righteous with joy. He had bare the cross. He is my Christ, and He is always with me. As we give this worship, the people of the world smirk at us. And when people boast about what they have within the world, it's so pitiful about their body, their new purse. I think, oh, you really have nothing to boast about. Of course, the young adults like that, but we have something to really boast about, and that is the spiritual truth. We have the gospel who is living with, who are living in this land must enjoy this. And Paul asked, do you like of what is of the elementary? That is why you are being tricked. The people of the elites, when they hear this sermon, they would not like this and say that I'm foolish, but it's a mystery, and that's why they do not know. But the fact, it's that those who smirk at us are anxious, and we have to save them. Because we don't see it, they're not interested, even if they're afflicted. And that's why they crumble down. It's because of their scars, their thoughts, their mind. Scars can even make wars. Look at Hitler. Like figures like 심창원. In his book he wrote, there was a demon that came inside me when my teacher said, you're not even able to study and you're so poor, why do you come to church? Why do you come to school? And that's why you're so important. That's why worship is so important. However you are listening to this word, when you listen to this word, you will absolutely be revived. You will be restored. You will rule and subdue. And that's why this time is important. The young adults of right now, we're quite different. When we say let's pray, we have hundreds of gather, and when we say let's play games, they don't come. And you think, oh, they're not fun.
근데 말씀
But when we say, hey, let's give worship, everyone comes. It's so fascinating. That's why the time right now is so important. Right now is the time that you open the eyes of your heart to see the spiritual truth. Number one, Satan's deception. What does Satan deceive you by? It's so that you do not see the spiritual truth. The king of this world is Satan, the devil. For people who do not know, disbelieve in the spiritual things. They do not understand this. But the Bible evidently says of this. It's just an average strength. For people who do not know the spiritual things, they don't believe in this. But those who are dead by sin and trespasses have the identity of Satan, and they will follow the course of the world. Those who are born with original sin, they will follow the world's cultures, bearing the heavy laden. Oh, I am free, but you're bounded. Then why are you bounded by scars? Then why are you bounded by inferiority and depression? You think that you're free. I really want to tell the college students, I live as I want. I am free. But why are you bounded by your scars and your family? It's that you have been bounded. You have to follow the course of the world. Because he's evil, he's Satan. So he gives you all the heavy ladens upon your shoulders. The more you succeed, the more heavy ladens you have. Even if you have success, even if I fulfill my dream and succeed being spiritual beings, one will not be able to taste true happiness, thanksgiving, and peace. So, recently, Deacon 장세진 had a baby girl, and the baby looks much like their parents. Without the gospel, there is no thanksgiving. There's no joy. It's just pleasure. Pleasure and joy is different. Joy comes from God. Pleasure comes from the world. Before and behind pleasure, it is void and emptiness. Upon joy, it's God. This is science. Can you say that it is not true? Can you say this to the non-believers? Can you deny what I am saying? So don't preach the gospel in such a petty way. You might hear this often, but this is the only truth in the world. Do you think that because it is delivered to you, it is not that special? But no. When people are told that they can't get what is new, what they want, they go into despair. They can't handle it. They will continuously want what is new, and if they can't have it, they go into despair. And that's why they have obsessions, wanting to boast about their apartment, cars. After retirement, they have nothing to do. Being obsessed by what I fulfilled. There is nothing new. It is not being foolish, but that is the fact. That's how people live. So they're like people who acknowledge them, and that's why they're alone. They're being obsessed by their children. It's not being filled. If they don't hold on to it, they feel anxious. It is like
뺏어가면 견디지 못하는 것처럼
the separation anxiety disorders like the children have, as we cannot stand it if we are taking away the doll from our hands. When my success that I have achieved, myself, my assets, pride gets hurt, people cannot stand it.
너무 멋있어 이 복음.
It is actually due to the separation with God.
너무 멋있어. 세상과 너무
So the world always says, this is mine, mine, mine. How pitiful is that? But we say, hey, take it all. I have the Lord.
나는 주님이면 돼.
And the Lord embraces us in His arms. Not being able to know this is the work of Satan.
거기 다 걸려 넘어지잖아요 지금. 예수 믿는다면서 청년들이.
So Satan's main ministry is for us to not know the spiritual fact. So he doesn't try to make people suffer, become ill, and go into accidents, because by this, people will find God. So he makes it so that people will not know the spiritual truth. Today's passage is a very famous scene. For 430 years, they have lived as slaves. They live within great pain and hearing the cries. God has given them the spiritual miracle of Exodus. For our age, we only were beneficial because of Japan. But we like it if we win Japan. It is if we have bad feelings towards Japan because they have colonized our country. For 430 years, my children's children as slaves. It was coming out from this by the book of the Bible, how it says that it's by the blood of the Lamb, the Passover. It is being changed. A fortune, fate, and destiny is a changed identity from being a slave of an Israelite, as an Israelite, to an Israelite of the kingdom of God. The journey had started from God, and it started from Canaan. It is what was evidently done by God. But in front of them there was a Red Sea, and behind them was the Egyptian army. This was when the real heart came out. Verses 11 to 12 reads, they said to Moses, it is because there are no graves in Egypt that we have given us away in the wilderness to die. What you have done to us is bringing us out of Egypt. Is it not that we said to you in Egypt, leave us alone that we may serve the Egyptians? For it would have been better for us to serve Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. So there are some young adults like this, saying, oh, I told you that I wasn't going to do it. It is not that they are doing bad, but this is the truth. There was really a Red Sea in front of them, and behind them was the Egyptian army. That's right. Are we saying to ignore that? But as we only look at that, it is scary. And then we have fear. And then your thoughts become anxious. It becomes pessimistic, and you have resentments coming out of your mouths. So eventually it's that things don't happen according to my will, upon my plans that I always had, my timing, my time schedule. Oh, I'm going to go to Canaan and raise kids and have a good business, but it's not like that. When do people who believe in God go into trials? It's when it doesn't happen according to their plans. What blocks their way is the Red Sea. So what do they say? They say, did I not say I was going to worship the Egyptians? That I was not going to worship God? If I want to live like this, I'm going to just worship idols. They're being completely deceived. This is how we are deceived, and you must know of this. So isn't this like us? Oh, I can't get a job. I can't buy a house. I don't think I can get married, and I don't see a future ahead of me. I'm not looking down on you. That may be the fact. If you look at that, you think that all you have to do is be resentful and have difficult things and complain. And this is the life that the people of the world are complaining about. So the church doesn't have to do that. The church doesn't have to give empathy to you. You have to make them see the spiritual truth. You have to show them that God is alive with them. And then you have to be able to know that. But as you just negotiate, you crumble down. So Satan makes it so that we crumble down on our own. Satan deceives us in such a way. Upon the things that are seen, he makes it so that we don't see the fundamental things. If we don't know of this, we fail. It is the incident that had changed by Exodus. It is the only way that Satan will kneel down. And that's alone the biggest thing. This mystery is of only Jesus. It is the incident of the power of Jesus who was revealed. So what is the fundamental problem? It is the original sin, Genesis 3:1-6. It is being prideful. I'm going to be like God. So was anyone God? They've become sinners. So if you left God, these are very scary words. So for a fish to leave the water, it is impossible to even imagine. In this weather, if a tree is uprooted, you don't even want to think about it. Men who are spiritual beings are like this. It's not that they live alone, but they are being bounded by Satan. So all the elites, they don't know of it, but they go against God. They go all in and become one within doing that. Going the opposite way of the Bible without having to talk with them. There is no alternative. And that's how they end their lives. So this is the fundamental problem. So if you don't know of the severity of this fundamental problem, you won't know. So the Catholic Church says, oh, Jesus is so pitiful, but it's not so. But pastor, aren't those people who succeed and not? Those are the words of Satan. They're the deceptions. It's because you only look at what you see. This is of the fundamental thing. They have forgotten that God is responsible for all. If you don't change of the fundamental thing, no matter what good thing it is meaningless. You live a good life without having any nightmares, but you will still die. It's so hot these days. Let's say you have food trash, but it's in my room. If you don't move it, even if you clean your room, it is meaningless. Even if you pour down Febreze or a diffuser, it will not change. Even if you clean it up, although it may make you feel good to you, the smell will not fade away. We only are looking at the truth. People who are worshiping beings must worship God, but the Israelites said, I will go into the curse, I will worship the Israelites. And they think that this is right. They think that within their emotions, they're 100% correct. But it's the way to fail. So what Satan hates the most is being fearful. For all the Yeon Church believers, may you only believe in the Word
내 생각 그까지 이게 뭐라고 말씀과 부딪히지
So it's not that it collides with your thoughts. The Word is the God of love and He looks at everything.
근본을 보지 못하니까 사탄은
So
뭐예요? 드러나는
Satan makes it so that he would only let us see what is revealed.
눈에 보이는
Like the
문제가
problems are everything.
올랐다 홍해 어디 배 없나? 뒤에 애국 군대 온다. 총 없나? 이러고 있는 거예요.
So you must be able to look at the things of the world and make judgments. You have to be able to see the things that you see in the world. I'm not saying you have to bypass it,
눈에 보이는 문제는 보이는 것
but people don't know that what is seen had come from what is unseen.
지금 많은 문제들이 있습니다. 우리 청년들
So there are many young adults who are going through a difficult time.
직장이 없고 취업이 안 되고 아버지가 무능하고 어머니가 힘들어서
Their fathers being powerless,
어려움 당하는 거 맞아요.
family problems.
그런데 알아야 합니다.
But you must know of this. There is no one who wants to go through all the sufferings.
더 세밀히 말하면 그럴
There
수밖에
is
없는 상황.
that state of having no choice but to have problems. Who wants to feel insecure? No one. But why do we do that?
왜 하냐?
We're in the state where we have no choice but to do so. Why do people go through hardships? Why do people do strange things? Why is this generation like this?
왜 이렇게 나눠지고 분열되고 왜 이렇게
So if you look at the people of our country, it seems like everyone is being afflicted.
막 죽여라 했다가 막 비난했다가 비난의 이제 수준도 너무 유치해지고 더러워지고
Saying bad things to this person and that.
아니요. 그럴 수밖에 없는 상황.
Being
보이스피싱
voice fished.
완전 마귀짓이잖아요.
Why do people do voice fishing? It's that they are in the state where they have no choice but to do so. Because they don't know that, they only say bad about it.
잠시 될 것처럼 보여도
Oh, let's
바뀌지 않는 이상 더 수고하고 무거운 짐 많아질 거예요.
immigrate. Let's go on the move. But
끼밥을 잘 먹어서도 고통스러울 겁니다.
for the Israelites, when they were in Egypt, it's that they were still unhappy, even if they ate 3 meals. As they continued to have pain, it would have been more difficult as their identity was a slave. King Pharaoh also symbolizes Satan, but it is that he has no heart in wanting to make the slaves happy. It is absolutely the case for the non-believers, but the problem is that it goes the same for the young adults who believe in God. Had made the same mistake. Although it may seem like they have blamed Moses, they blame God. This disbelief is very scary. Number 2, see the spiritual truth. Verses 13 to 14 reads, And Moses said to the people, Fear not, stand firm and seek the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians, from whom you see today, you shall never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent. So he said, look at salvation, stay still. So it does not mean to be foolish. It's saying, see the spiritual truth. So is it not that God is with you? So maybe the time when you open your spiritual eyes, see the spiritual reality. And then right now, look at who is standing in front of the mirror. Who is within that mirror? It is Christ. Did you forget about that again? Is that why you are going into despair? Who is this Christ? Colossians 2:3, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. What does this mean? It means that he who has become the blood of the Lamb, the seed of woman, Emmanuel, is within me, so I have no problems. This is the spiritual truth whether you know of it or not. If you believe, you'll be able to taste it. If you believe, you'll be able to receive this answer. He who is complete is within me. He who broke the head of Satan. So he changes you to the state where you have no choice but to succeed, and he is the only one of Jesus Christ. This is the spiritual truth. You have to be able to confirm this during the time of worship. And that's why we risk our lives in worship. And that's why when we have the time of holy meditation, we're able to enjoy this. And that's why we have that time. So after media fasting from the training, are you enjoying your time from all the media? Are you enjoying your time as your team leaders are not calling you in the morning, not having forum? Do you want to live like that? We know. We have the system to remember Jesus Christ. This is the spiritual truth. As we are unable to do it together, we do it together. Alone, we do it together. Even if there are turmoils that drag me to hell, even the stream of the world is dragging me, it is having the right hand of God hold on to me and being within the arms of God. He is a true prophet, the true prophet of power who has saved me from all curses and disasters, changing my state. The power of the King who had crushed the head of Satan and had only made me see what is in front of my eyes. This is the spiritual truth. When you look at yourself with the spiritual eyes, what type of person are you? Who am I? Just take a look at the word and it is enough. You're a child of God. 1 John 4:4. Little children, are you from God? And then you have overcome them. For he who is in you greater than he who is in the world. Little children, God have overcome them. For he who is with you is greater than he who is in the world. See this with your spiritual eyes. God is with us. God is guiding us. God is working. He is my background. This is the spiritual truth. So why do you worry? So why do you have concerns? Even if you are lacking and even if you can't remember this, the truth does not change. So that's why it is so unfortunate to fall into disbelief. So the truth changes depending on the interpretation. But the spiritual truth does not change. God is with us. Even if we're in front of the Red Sea, God is with us. Oh, but Pastor, I think I'm going to die. It's okay. God does not make mistakes about that. That is why for us it is not just trying to solve our problems, but whether that Red Sea parts or not, it doesn't matter for us. There are no problems. So you have to brighten these spiritual eyes and be able to see from the spiritual eyes. And this is the spiritual science. It's when you pray. So Elisha had bright open eyes when the field of the early church had opened. So God will listen to us. God will work upon the time of transcending time and space. Revelation 8:3 reads, "And another angel came and stood at the altar with a golden censer, and he was given much incense to offer with the prayers of all saints of the golden altar before the throne." This work is still happening right now. We have confirmed it during NHS. Peace comes upon you as you have the time to do holy meditation upon the word and pray. It is restored. My bounded thoughts will fade away. So may you have the eyes to spiritual truth. May you pray saying, Lord, may I be the one who has the most enlightened, bright spiritual eyes. This is the conclusion. The key word for August is proportunity.
쓰는 말인데
I've made this word.
만들었습니다.
I've combined the word of
요즘에
problem and opportunity. Although it looks like a crisis, it's not just a problem, it's a crisis.
보이지만 하나님의
But it is a gift, an opportunity.
저는 보면서 그래. 성경에 렘
So this has been greatly emphasized within the stream of the word, opportunity. A problem is an opportunity. Many young adults are in front of problems. It is true. However, if you look at it spiritually, it is an opportunity. All the figures of the Bible, including the 7 remnants, had faced this danger and crisis.
여러분 개인들 중에 위기 속에 있는 청년들이 있습니까?
Although it may really be
영적 사실을 보면
a problem, spiritually it is an opportunity. It's an opportunity that you experience God. The witness must have evidence. You must be able to explain the gospel as the gospel, explaining absolute impossible as the possible. So it's the same thing. Nobody. Danger. It's the same thing, same stream. So people say that you have to not hit the Red Sea and you have to avoid it. And people say to not lose hold of the opportunity to go around the Red Sea. But no. I know that things are difficult for our young adults, and many things are difficult. It is a problem. However, it is an opportunity. It is an opportunity to only look unto God. It is an opportunity to see the truth. It is not to depend on man, but upon the word. It is an opportunity to be the witness of healing. It is an opportunity to stand as a witness of healing of the spirit, heart, thought, body, and field. That is why I have been given this word from God, opportunity. May you remember this. Yes. The start of that is worship, and the process is holy meditation. The fruit of it is evangelism and missions. In English, we have combined the words problem and opportunity. It's not existent. It's a gospelized word. The time that you're able to do this is worship, evangelization, and missions. Tonight, as you have the time of holy meditation, may you write a prayer with a beautiful faith. So it's such a blessing that August 1st is on the Sunday because we're able to give this month of August to God. So right now, this week is the time of WRC. So you can't rent anywhere and go within the flow, the stream of the word, saying, I will be the leaders. Upon the month of August, may we imprint this word and may you enjoy with the spiritual truth within spiritual independence. Upon this time, may you make the confession of faith. Don't only look at the truth, but the spiritual truth.